Welcome back to Volume 5, if I still have my voice. Alright, let's run down the matchups before getting into anything else. Let me drink some water first. Actually, even though, what's the temperature outside? -8, huh? Probably shouldn't open the window, but I'll open the window just a little bit to let some fresh air in while the game settles in. Alright, I opened the window by just a little bit. Hopefully I don't get a cold out of this. But letting some fresh air in, it might help with a lot of things. My voice, my room temperature, my state of mind. Alright, let's run through the matchups. We're gonna have Darius up top against the Camille. We're gonna have Fiddlesticks jungling against the Vi. Lux mid against Morgana, a classic matchup. Light and Dark Bindings. Tristana Zyra going up against Ezreal Seraphine, and unfortunately the Darius doesn't seem like he is in this game. Well, unfortunately for blue team. I remember back when seeing Lux against Morgana reminds me of a very funny anecdote from a while back actually. It was when the league was still in its infant stages, and everybody could just post random BS on the league trivia, and then someone posted, and this remained on the trivia page for a long time. Lux learned light binding by reverse engineering dark binding from Morgana, which in that iteration of the lore made no sense. Morgana wasn't even Damashian. But people just like took that off, pretty sure with no sources, and just taught it around as fact. And I don't know why like that stayed on the wiki for so long, but unfortunately for me, I guess that was the really memorable thing to me, and I ended up passing that around because I was a dumb kid back then who never knew how to fact check. Now we're pretty sure like that was just never a thing in lore ever, and somebody just pulled it out of their butt and be like, hey, they're similar names. Surely Lux reverse engineered it. I still don't think there's any modern proof that shows that that was ever a thing even before the lore rewrite. It is true that Lux had a spell thief skin, and it is true that she did learn magic from essentially talent and observation. But I remember this very clearly. Lux's first iteration of her lore, she could turn invisible by bending the light around her body. Like that was a genuine part of her lore, and that was a real part of her lore. That was something that was even written into her champion judgment back when League wrote that, when accepting champions into the Institute of War. Like Lux made herself invisible and listened in on her mother's conversation with Garen, I believe, about sending Lux off to the Mage Seekers, which wasn't called the Mage Seekers back then. It was called like I think it was like the cleanse, like purifiers or something, to strip her of her magic powers. And she ran away from home after intruding on that conversation. But that was like a genuine part, and nowhere in Lux's first iteration of the lore did it mention that she can reverse engineer spells by looking at them. Like it just didn't make sense, nor would that opportunity ever have been presented to her if it was with Morgana. But still, like despite all that, somebody probably BS'd that onto the wiki, and unfortunately I bought a hook, line, and sinker, and I still remember it to this day, and it's sad. Ooh, Darius gets the apprehend back, so he gets to win that trade. I mean, just to think, if the apprehend didn't hit, Camille probably gets a very good position, but that's gonna be flash traded for flash. Camille is safe, not dead, but probably bruised, as now her lane position gets a lot more precarious. It's against Darius, man. One mistake into apprehend and it's over. Unless the Vi comes in and does that. Seraphine is gonna be the first to die. Fiddlesticks gets that. Oh, the drain is coming down. Ezreal's still sitting there auto-attacking, which means the Zyra kills him off. Zyra is the survivor. It's better than Tristana surviving, for sure, in Red Team's perspective. But this juicy wave being lost to the tower is going to be a very crippling blow. Remember back when Morgana hitting level 5 was a big deal because you get level 3 soil? And in Season 1, level 3 soil was exactly enough to, with just Doran's Ring, one-shot the caster wave. And it made Morgana mid a thing. I'm pretty sure solely off that. You play Morgana mid, you max soil, and you just wave clear over and over with W. And you get so rich off the back of it. And that was also back when Morgana's passive was just Spellband instead of this weird you heal off champions and monsters. So it made her a very, very safe mid laner that was obscenely annoying to lane into. Like, there's a lot of things like to think about back then compared to now, and for the most part I reserve my own opinions on Riot's balance team. Although a very common complaint nowadays, granted, is a very valid problem, that damage in League is getting out of hand. Champions die way too fast. But then you think back to like the early days of League, and you really see there's some rose-tinted glasses going on there, man. Because this game was unbalanced as all hell in the very early stages of the game. There are disgusting items that are allowed to exist that nobody was good enough at the game to exploit. Nowadays, you have like a dedicated team of mathematicians, or literally just Freak, I guess, running math on every patch notes, calculating item efficiencies and all that. We didn't have this back then. Like back then, Freak was community manager, and you didn't really have concepts like, hey, you should build this item because guess what, you win the game off it. Nowadays we have a lot less of that. Well, we had of that before. We traded them mostly for more or less item builds set in stone, and it's just, hey, you're X champion, great, build these 6 items in this exact order every single game. It's a lot more of that, which I personally don't like. I like games with a lot of item diversity, and that being one of the biggest objectives of this whole item rework thing, I believe it's categorically not done a good job of that. Because despite introducing so many items, it's clear that some are just leagues better than others, so you have no reason to do the other ones. Like, I want a world where, yeah, Frostfire Grasp has its place compared to Sunfire's. Oh, that Crowstorm is gonna make Ezreal ultra dead. But I want to live in a world where Frostfire Grasp is equally viable as Sunfire's Cape, and it is completely situational depending on the enemy team, which one of the two you go. But nowadays it's not even that. It's like the one thing I could think of was like in day 1 of the preseason when nobody knew what items to buy. There was a very brief period of like 3 games where I was like, hey, they're full AP, I should build Chem Tank because it's got 20 more MR. And then it took all of 30 minutes for people to realize, oh wait, if you build Chem Tank, it's just actually worse than Sunfire in every way. Like nowadays, no matter what the enemy team is, and you play a tank, you're building Sunfire, it's that much better than the other 3 tank options. And that's kind of a bummer for me. I really didn't want to see that. But that's the reality of what we're dealing with now. I can't believe the tangent just went to item diversity now, but back to the original point, it was just, the game was a lot less balanced back in Season 1. The game is a lot more fast-paced nowadays. I think one of the common criticism that League gets, the modern League gets at least, is sometimes it feels like an action game where you're just mashing buttons at each other, and fights can be decided in the blink of an eye, which is true. But that also existed back in Season 1, and when it did, there was no counterplay. AP Scion deletes you in 2 buttons, and one of them is a click on stun. The last 2.25 seconds, like, they're nasty. How some of those things, back when Ice first started playing League, were even allowed to exist. Lee Sin had 2.0 total AD ratio on his Q. Like, who made that a thing? The numbers were a lot more unbalanced in the early days of League. A lot more. And back in the early days of League, there was not as much counterplay as there is now. As you introduce more champions and more items into the game, you invariably open up diversity. And once you have the diversity, you eventually start finding answers. Of course, this is all talking like perfect theoretical type of sense. Oh, massive Crow Storm. That's a dead. Why? And Morgana probably. Oh, yep, double killed the Fiddlestick. That was such a good Crow Storm. And while I've been talking, he's actually amassed himself healthy 4 kills. 4 kills to 1 on the Y. Everything on red team is just struggling to survive against the might of the ancient fear that is in fact Fiddlestick's title. I genuinely still truly believe that League of Legends was extremely unbalanced in its very early days. And the meta was either stale, boring, or way too stupid. Like APE was allowed to exist for the longest time, AP Trend was allowed to exist. Like those builds weren't even like, oh, diversity. It was more so there was a huge oversight on the part of game developers, and bam, 1.5 AP ratio. And it just became this, like, it became this monster with no counterplay. It didn't become diversity, it became something that was broken, something you could abuse. In modern days, with hotfixes being a thing, and I guess Riot being a lot more pragmatic with how champions and scalings work, these things don't see the light of day that much. You still have really stupid stuff, like Lilia can still definitely 2-shot you if she really wanted to, but nowadays that comes with significant trade-offs, whereas back then you could do that and still not die. Sion had a 2000 health shield, Master Yi had old meditate, and APE on top of that. It's weird, you know. It's of course that argument itself carries a little bit of cherry picking. Lilia is considered very balanced, and the stuff I'm listing in the past are considered highly unbalanced. But it goes both ways. Evelyn was gutted for years before her rework, and nowadays you have Wudir being virtually forgotten on the sidelines. Like, these things always happen. As the game invariably goes on and progresses and evolves, it is trending towards a faster paced game, which has its pros and cons. I hated the days when games will last on average like 45 minutes. It's genuinely not fun to be stuck in that situation. But when you shorten the game length, you invariably make it so that the tiniest decisions early game, where there's a lot of variance in some places, start to matter a lot, and you can feel robbed, you can feel helpless, because it's the window to make comebacks becomes so much tighter, and if you lengthen that window, you widen the game time as well. And it's a really interesting balancing thing where people have to consider. Lux just yoinked the blue buff under the Vi's nose. That's brutal. It becomes a huge balancing minigame where, you know, what do you do is the state of the game. If it's too fast, it's not fun, because nobody wants to make a huge part of the game a formality, because you can just end game so fast. But if it's slow, no one's having fun. There's a nice sweet spot, and this sweet spot is granted impossible to hit because just people themselves have different perceptions on what their desired game length is out of a game like this. I've definitely had a lot of fun playing in the preseason of 11. I have yet to play a game today, the actual first day of season 11. Ooh, the Echo, the Encore is not going to hit, but the Lux is going to die, but not before taking the Vi down with her. Probably not a worthwhile trade for red team, all things considered. Now, I'm barely talking about this game, and a lot has happened so far. Fiddlesticks is still strong. Triss is just solo killed the Ezreal just like that with a double rocket jump. Seraphian's the next victim to the Crow Storm. And so far, blue team has a minor laning lead. I will say, and the reason I started casting is I've enjoyed watching League a lot more than playing League. That's not to say I hate playing. I do enjoy playing the game a lot. I just really like watching people a lot more. That's been true for me since any game, really. Like, I remember wanting to watch my cousin play Red Alert when I was a kid versus playing Red Alert myself. I've always been more of an observer than an actual participant. I enjoy the idea of being on the sidelines. I enjoy the idea of not directly participating in anything. I enjoy the idea of being like a narrator or a host, and not so much an actual participant. It might be a weird mentality to be like, hey, if you want to do something, don't include me. I have more fun that way. It sounds so asinine when it's been put that way, and Triss does so much damage, it's just gonna melt the Morgana. Camille is gonna come in, the hook shot, it doesn't go through the rocket jump, and she's been feared under the tower. And that's another body added to the pile. It's just 2 bodies for nothing, and they come and teleport on top of that. A huge disastrous turn here for red team. Oh, some of them might be starting to see the writing on the wall with this one. The gold lead was manageable up until that happened. Not to mention the loss of teleport with Darius getting free reign top. He might have a way back into this game now if he gets a solid chunk out of that tower. Then that's going to be mid tower falling, 2 towers to 0. Top is the last one standing in terms of tier 1 towers. Ezreal, nice sidestep on the edge of the screen to avoid the Lux laser. As an observer, I find League to be very fascinating, strategically. As a player, I like the game state more when it is a lot more varied. And my biggest criticism with League in the present season is that it's still not varied enough. You're still, despite their best efforts, you're still kind of pigeonholed into set builds. Situational items are just too weak to get even in those exact situations. And it sounds like an easy problem to fix, just make situational items stronger. But in reality, it's a lot more complicated than that. If you make situational items too strong, you actually, 1, risk them taking over and becoming the new meta, and 2, if situational items are too strong, items themselves can deny entire playstyles, which also isn't healthy on the game. It's a very difficult thing to be balancing the game. I don't want to back up Rito balance team too much because as a player there are balancing decisions that boggles my mind. Like, I cannot believe that some of these changes ever even gets through. I'm definitely not saying that Rito balance team is amazing in any way. I'm just saying they do their jobs. And balancing League of Legends is going to be an eternally unsolvable problem. But what it comes down to in the end is the game fun? And for me, I have fun in preseason, and I'm gonna have fun in season 11. It doesn't absolve the blatant things that just make me not have fun to play against. Ooh, that's a beautiful encore. It hits the Tristana, but it mostly gets buffered through the rocket jump. The Crowstorm comes in, it's going to claim Ezreal as the victim. Morgana dies to the Zyra burn. But Lux might be next. No, the wall breaker over the wall. She needs one more hit. She can't get it. She has to commit the assault and battery to do it with. 18 to 12. Camille arrives from the back. She jumps on the Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks fears her away. The flea is there. The harvest. It's draining away Camille's soul. 3 for 3 at the tail end of that fight. And Fiddlesticks still uncontested. He's so incredibly strong. And you know what? I'm glad Tank Fiddle isn't a thing anymore. That was... Tank Fiddle was disgusting. But this version of Fiddle just kills you with damage. Either way, like playing an ambush mage very well into any game is a very frustrating ordeal for your enemies to deal with. Nowhere is safe. You always run in danger of dying. And it's just a terrifying thing to be going up against perpetually. Ooh, the ultimatum goes down onto the Tristana trying to kite it out as much as he can, but this might be a kill. Nope, it is not. Camille was essentially her last breath. If she didn't kill Triss off that, Triss would have had enough to do it. She does go back for the Storm Razor as well as the Kraken Slayer. Triss has a lot of innate self-PO with Buster Shot and Rocket Jump. Getting Storm Razor on top of that just makes her even better at kiting. And she's definitely shown herself to be somewhat capable mechanically so far. Oh, Fiddle going in for the kill. He gets the fear onto the Ezreal. He's burning down slowly, but Seraphine offers herself up as the martyr. They drop the support. But AD carries alive, albeit barely. He's not really in a good shape to do this. True Shot Barrage comes down, it sweeps across blue team, kills no one, but takes many to critical. 2 ultimates committed. They lose Seraphine, but they get a tower in return. So the game state for them isn't totally screwed. Fiddlesticks finally get caught out. That's 1,000 gold to the Ezreal, but he immediately gets killed off by the Tristana, who deals a lot of damage in her own right. She's slowly burning down to the red smite. Is it going to be enough? It seems like the answer is no, but Lux is next on the chopping block. She is served up and minced. That's 2 for 1 in favor of red team. They find a favorable fight. And what's more, the biggest part, they take the 1,000 gold bounty and place it into Ezreal's hands. Definitely the top candidate for receiving a bounty of that size. Fake effigy fakes the Crow Storm cast. I almost said Storm Crow, which is a sign that I'm getting very sleepy. I definitely shouldn't cast 5 games in a row like this. It's not healthy. Or I just need to work on my stamina. I'm an old ass man now. Okay, I have stamina issues. Don't take that the wrong way. I have stamina issues. I can't last forever. Don't take that the wrong way. Too late. I already said it out. God damn it. I can't sit here and cast for like hours on end. Were this 5 years ago, I probably could have done it. I mean, assuming if I wasn't working on like university stuff. But I'm not that young anymore. You know? I'm not 20 years old anymore. I'm 25. It's so much older. Ugh. I have no idea how casters do it. Like, they just sit in the booth and cast for hours on end. How did they do it? How do they not get tired out? Although I guess having a co-caster with you, like a dedicated co-caster that's in there with you the whole time, it helps a lot. Having a production crew behind your back, that helps a lot too. The atmosphere changes versus just casting in your bedroom alone. When you're doing anything alone, it's a lot more pleasant. But I guess there's also like, I think back to moments where I think it was either Doa or Monte Cristo, one of them, solo casted 8 hours worth of LCK. And that's honestly nowadays when I think someone did that and they were receiving a lot of praise, rightfully deserved praise. And back then I was like, damn, that's impressive. They casted for 8 hours. But then another part of me was like, maybe I could do that. Like, and now I'm like 5 games in, I'm just like, oh god, how do people do it? Oh, Darius is walking into a try. Vi spots him out. This might be a kill. Darius is melting fast. He's going to flash, goes out, but Vi follows with assault and battery. It's not going to be enough. It is, but Triss takes her kill right after. 1 for 1 so far. Camille goes in for the catch onto the Tristana. It's going to be no, not bare, just barely not enough. Tristana rocket jumps away, but Zyra sniped in the back by a Mystic Shot. Ezreal marches forward to try to make a pick happen. The Fiddlesticks, the real Fiddlesticks, gonna get bound up, channeling his way out. He is going to cancel Crowstorm. No, that wasn't Crowstorm. He's gonna cancel the Drain, or Bountiful Harvest rather, with a Zion. It actually looked like Crowstorm, but now I just realized they have the same animation. If you can't see the Drain tethers. Red team finally gets a dragon on the board. They're 1 out of 4 on their way to sweep the soul. Reverse sweep the soul, I should say. Tristana spotted running around red team's topside jungle. She needs to make her way to the blast cone. Red team pings the Baron. They know she's gonna make her way there. It's been killed off. Baron has been aggroed and Triss is killed off, and red team says, hey, what the hell, why not help us do this? Why not help ourselves do this, you know? Camille hookshots over the wall. She cannot tank this, but the Baron acid is stopping her. Laser cuts across Seraphine, frying her recording equipment and ending her life. The silence, the fear, the CC's landing on the Ezreal. They must abandon the pit. This is a terrible idea. Oh no, abandon ship. It's draining. It's going fast. Blue team secures it with a smite. Morgana gets bound and apprehended over the wall. Noxian dunk. Not there in time. No reset for the Darius, but it wasn't put on cooldown either. This was a monumentous throw. They were not ready to take this Drake. Fiddlesticks adds a few more bodies onto his trophy. 25 minutes in. Once again, just like the last game, pretty even game state, all things considered. A 3,000 deficit at this is definitely much worse than, what was it, like 1,000 last game? But it's not game ending by any means, and slowly but surely, red team is making something happen. Like they're slowly finding a way back into the game, finding more map to play around with. Camille hookshots right to light binding, and that's going to get her picked off. Lux commits to teleport to save it. You're so cringe, says the Tristana. For some reason, whenever anyone says that, I just imagine like a 14-year-old teenage girl. You're so cringe, oh my god. I can smell your sweat from here. Like, ew. Fiddlesticks has the Crow Storm. So thanks to Seraphine. No, never mind. Seraphine was paying out that Crow Storm was used. That is how you interpret that ping. It will be up in 40 seconds. Actually a very short cooldown given how impactful of an ultimate it is. It's basically Curse of the Sad Mummy on steroids. If you don't think about it too hard. Morgana finding goes wide, and there's a Seraphine Echo, it catches too! Oh, the stun of the back as well, and there is the ticket to engage. Tristana falls, so does the Zyra. The Underghost comes out and he develops red team in the vines, but it's not gonna be good enough. Darius comes in, but Camille slices him clean in two. What a massive team fight! Oh, Seraphine pick with the Encore, demanding backstage tickets that blue team cannot afford. My goodness. Did I just see a heal come out? What was that heal? Nobody has Moonstone Renewer, right? Was that Seraphine in Power W, but the particles were invisible somehow? I can't tell. I also never actually used the Superstar skin. I always thought Rising Star looked better. So I've always used Rising Star instead of Superstar when I play Seraphine. So, granted the particle effects don't change that much. I like Rising Star more than Superstar because I think the aesthetics just look better. And then I heard her voice lines, and then I was like, I regret everything. Remember when people in Borderlands 3 were complaining like, hey, Borderlands 3, pretty fun game, but damn, the lines were cringe. And you listen to it, and yeah, like, they were pretty cringe. Like, who in their right mind put YouTubers on to waste some of the villains? Come on. Like, that's what's supposed to follow Handsome Jack, and you know, that's a common complaint. And then you hear Seraphine Rising Star, and it's literally the exact same thing. That's my one regret about sticking with Rising Star. God, I hate her voice lines on Rising Star so much. Not even that, like, it's... Like, I don't like to use the word cringe. There's things like if you recall with Rising Star, she'll say remember to like and subscribe, which... I mean, it's not the delivery. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with the delivery, but it takes me out of the moment. Because I'm playing League of Legends and I hear that. It just takes me out of the moment and I hate it. It breaks my immersion so much. Tristana puts up a question mark ping, but the Morgana's gonna walk in and try to solo out the Lux. The soil almost kills her from full to 0. Darius might be next on the chopping block. He's been trapped up in the soil as Ezreal shifts forward. But there's a Crow Storm looking for the ambush. Mountain Soul gets claimed by blue team. Ezreal slowly burning down to the Crow Storm. He has to blow everything to get out. Morgana's getting in. She kills off the 2 lone members in the back. How did she slip her way in? Nobody noticed her. Camille trying to make a pick happen. She slices Zyra to half her health, but she's been rooted up. The Liandry's burn is there, but the hook shot connects. Zyra does not make it to the fruits in time. Tristana still bloodthirsty. Ezreal stands still to attack the Scryer's Bloom. That might be his death. Yes, it is. Rocket jumps back up cooldown. Tristana finishes the chase. Granted, there's very little Ezreal can do to survive there. Though standing still to attack the Scryer's Bloom didn't help his cause. And blue team suddenly realizing that red team, over the course of this game, has suddenly built themselves up a threat, other than Camille, that they have kind of ignored. Camille just makes mincemeat out of the Tristana. But Morgana, she is a very strong threat with Liandry's Embrace and Zion's Stun, a potent zoning threat. Her soil is not a joke. Walking on it brings a ton of pain. Definitely not something that they should be tempting with. And now red team, it's their turn to start Baron yet again. Will this be another monumental throw? Blue team is already on their doorstep. Darius leading the charge. But unfortunately, I don't think they can get into the pit. The soil is zoning them for now. The soil wore off. Red team gets the Baron. And there is the pounce of the engage. Zyra dies. Encore completely whiffs. But there's the assault and battery onto the Darius. He's next on the chopping block. Lux laser goes through. And the Crow Storm turn is there. Can he fry everybody in this choke point? Blue team has already lost so much damage. Red team's backed off. Vi is next to die. Dies to a reap in the back. Seraphine takes down the Fiddlesticks. 3 for 2 so far, but the Tristana comes in utterly. He deletes the Ezreal in a few cannon shots. Seraphine trying her best to save the Morgana. The stun does latch. It goes through the Soul Shackles. It goes through the Zongness. The missed time beat drop means that Tristana and Lux pounces in to make the clean ace. Blue team gets Baron, but they don't get to push with it. And now Tristana and Lux. Tristana is very strong. She's very fast at killing structures. And Lux tries her best. This isn't the end of the game, but this will definitely be an inhibitor. Tristana will make very short work out of this tower. And this inhibitor. But that's as far as they go. They all back off. Elder Dragon spawning in 3. Teleport behind the Tristana. She needs to run away. There's the Camille. She has the home guard. That light binding flies in the middle of nowhere, but the buster shot used perhaps prematurely, but it pushes Camille very far away. She has no good way of hookshotting back into Tristana's face. Not with Zyra zoning her out there. So that teleport doesn't get a counter kill. Eating the buster shot, probably not even that big of a deal either. She'll have it back up before the next fight. The Elder's up in 2 minutes. Ezreal helps himself to the red buff. Oh, Camille! She hasn't given up, she's still going. But this is a 1v4 situation. She realizes what trouble she's gotten herself into and immediately dips out of the fight. But it's not going to be fast enough. You're so cringe. Like, actually, says the Tristana. Question your existence. Oh my god. That was a pretty boneheaded play, to be honest. But she thought that she could delete Tristana in like 2 shots, which historically hasn't been shown to be true, so Lux sends the laser down. Doesn't really hit anyone. I think it chipped the Morgana. But they still have 2 minutes, like a solid 2 minutes left before they have to worry about the Elder. So for now, they're more than content to just sit back for a while, amass your last bit of power required. Because this next battle over the Elder Drake is for the game. If either team gets Elder, it's over. If Fiddlesticks gets Elder, his 1 Crowstorm deletes everybody before they can even take the fear off. it's going to be incredibly stupid to play against. QSS on the Ezreal. He's fully prepared to break out of any CC that blue team has to throw at him. Although in hindsight, taking cleanse might have been a good idea this game. Vi is gonna get caught out by the Trist. A few more shots, assault the battery. The CC gets layered, but it's not gonna matter. Tristana instantly dies. Noxian Guillotine comes out, it secures the first kill. The second one might be coming out. The Zhonya's Hourglass, it stops the Guillotine from landing. Ezreal lands in for the double. Crowstorm doesn't find a kill here, only onto the Seraphine. But the Camille, still healthy and alive. Fiddlesticks going for the Drain tank, but it's not going to be good enough. He is burning down, he will die. Arcane Shift secures it. The Comet kills Morgana in the back, but Lux is going to be the sole survivor. She flashes over, juking both members, but only for a little while. Ezreal still in hot pursuit. Camille still has her hookshot. Ezreal flashes over, he wants to make this kill happen. That's his fictional girlfriend. They're talking about Elder Dragon up in 30. It seems like this is something the red team can secure. Camille will go back for some health. Ezreal is alone at this site. Clear some wards maybe. Going to shift over. Trying to clear away the bot wave. Push up the minion wave. Get advantageous vision. The rest of red team respawning in trickles. So our blue team. Everybody is making their way to this pit. Unfortunately, some of them forgot words. Most of them forgot words. That's going to make this fight super awkward. Red team has already started it. Blue team, they're still on their way back. Tristana is already on the outside of the pit. She is camping here, waiting. Scryer's Bloom killed. They see the inside. She is jumping in. This is YOLO mission. They don't get it. Red team secures Elder Drake. Tristana is dead. Massive pings to retreat. Trist dies for 50 seconds. Red team, they go back home. They full reset. They ping out Baron, but they can make a decisive blow right now. They don't have an ADC. They can push down the lane. Fiddlesticks drains away the blue buff. That's about as strong as he's going to get now. A decisive battle is coming up. Blue team, still no ADC for 20 seconds. She'll be up by the time red team crashes this wave into blue team space, but by then, she might not be able to join the team in time if red team is decisive enough. They stop to clear a ward on the way. Morgana Soil, it hurts extra much now. Red team make the strategical decision to use this Elder to guarantee Baron. They can't make this push, it's very dangerous. This is not a advisable dive. They have an execute, but it doesn't mean they auto win that fight. They will get their inhibitor back up, but the Baron is spawning. They try to Death Brush. That is their call, but blue team is furiously paying off Baron. They just assume red team is going for it. Lux might want to walk up now. The laser scouts it out. They know they're not in the pit. Camille makes the first pound. She gets over the wall. Ultimatum blocks up the Lux. A few more damage burns will mean the Elder will start breathing, but there is no execution so far. Darius is the first to go. The Lux might be the next. The Soul Shackles instantly deletes too. Blue team's overextended. They've sent themselves to their doom. Tristana gets blasted and taken to GA. GG is called by the Zyra. This might be the writing on the wall that they are looking for. They have a single cannon wave to preserve. Ezreal goes in for the 1v1, but Tristana deletes him. Camille TPs into the back. They want to keep this Trist out. The wave is pushing in. Camille has one job. Lock down this Trist. The flash hookshot fails. Camille needs to kill the Trist. Trist cannot kite it out. She gets blasted down. Fiddlesticks is the last hope. He's standing in a fountain. What the frick is he doing? He's doing a Scarecrow cosplay. 3 effigies. 1 is real. And the real one has begun the Crowstorm. He's coming in for the drain. He kills off the Vi, but the soil, the burn is too much. Elder wore off. He gets to live. He doesn't burn. He doesn't burn. Demonic Embrace does not kill him. He survives to fight another day. But Tristana makes the miracle play. She kills the Ezreal to prolong the game. Elder has expired with no victor. This fight will still continue. Baron is next on the chopping block. Ezreal grabs red. This is about as strong as he's going to get. More game and the objectives are possible. But so far, this may be fully uncontested. Blue team will be very foolish to try to walk into this. That's all of the setup with all of the words. Red team knows exactly what they're doing here. Blue team is fighting blind. The laser premature. It was a pure guess. Red team secures it. Laser probably does outdamage Smite right now, honestly. But she had to guess when to fire it. Actually, laser was illumination. Definitely kills. Definitely outbursts Baron. Without illumination, probably not. With this Baron, red team needs one last decisive final strike into the heart of blue team. Plant the dagger deep. Strike them at their core. Lightning bolt goes out. Morgana gets chipped to half. Not half, zero, I mean. A massive heal comes down. I'm pretty convinced that's Seraphine, but I just can't see the graphic. So that was definitely Seraphine heal. The graphic is just invisible on the spectate. Fiddle goes for a very ill-advised Crow Storm. Gets pinged back. Really all he did was clear the wave. Elder's up in less than 1 minute, and blue team is pigeonholed into their base. But this game was looking so promising for them. They had the fed Triss, they had the fed Fiddlesticks. They had everything they needed to win. But unfortunately, Darius got gapped a bit too hard. And also the Ezreal is fully online now, so the Triss being ahead, that's not necessarily a problem. Granted, if Triss jumps onto the Ezreal and just starts shooting him, she will kill him very fast. But that's becoming less and less realistic as the game goes on. Elder has spawned. The apprehend fails. That apprehend might have saved them the game if it landed. This is a lot riskier off an Elder Dragon, and Camille teleports top. She leaves the battle. They're gonna sack this Drake. No way. The Encore is coming in. They lock up two. Crowstorm in the back. The game is frozen. Spectate, why do you do this to me? Hold on. Can I rewind? Okay, Camille teleports top. Whatever. They eat this. They're gonna eat this dragon. True Shock Barrage comes in. Fiddlesticks goes in as well. It's once again frozen at this exact time. Oh my gosh, spectate that. Why? Why? Alright, I'm going to see if I can get the game back up. We gotta see the end, you know. Unfortunately, this is the second time spectate broke tonight. That's okay, part of life. 4209 is we're headed towards. We're going to get back into the spectate. Avert your eyes for the next 5 seconds if you want to avoid timeline spoilers. I'm going to go to 4209 and turn off the timeline. Or 4155, let's say. Alright. Fortunately, I didn't see the kill feed, so I have no idea who got the Elder. So, I'm going to cast, knowing nothing. Alright, Camille gonna eat herself top lane. She's abandoned this position. Encore comes in. Fiddle Crowstorms into the back. This is very close. Blue team secures the Elder. Can they start getting the breath down? Ezreal, first to go. Morgana is next. But now they need to recall. There's a rat in the base. Nobody can get back in time? Oh no, that's actually the end of the game. Red team takes it. Wow.